This first time-lapse video was taken on November 18th during the Leonid meteor shower in Baltimore City, Maryland. The Leonid typically produces about 20 meteors per hour. Notice how no stars are visible. The only movement in the sky is from helicopters and planes circling the city. The second video was taken on October 28th during the Orionid meteor shower in Parkton, Maryland, about 30 minutes outside of Baltimore City. The Orionids typically produce about 15 meteors an hour. Although I was only able to catch one meteor on this video, the stars are much more visible outside of the city. The reason for the major difference in the ability for us to see the stars is light pollution. Light pollution is defined as the introduction of artificial light into the environment by humans directly or indirectly. Light pollution is the reason why Baltimore's night sky has a strange orange glow. Light pollution is a side effect of industrial civilization. Its sources include building exterior and interior lighting, advertising, commercial properties, and streetlights. It is most severe in highly industrialized, densely populated areas of North America, Europe, and Japan. Light pollution obscures the stars in the night sky for city dwellers, interferes with astronomical observatories, and like many other forms of pollution, disrupts ecosystems and has adverse health effects on humans and animals. These photographs show the sky in Toronto in 2003. The left photograph was taken during a blackout before the general use of artificial lighting in this area. The right photograph shows the now normal night sky. Light pollution has almost completely blocked out any view of the stars. Sky glow refers to the glow that has been seen over populated areas. It is the combination of all light reflected from what the city has illuminated escaping up into the sky. The light is being scattered and redirected by the atmosphere back toward the ground. This scattering is very strongly related to the wavelength of the light when the air is very clear, with very little aerosols. When there is significant aerosol, typical of most modern polluted conditions, the scattered light has less dependence on wavelength, making a lighter sky. Sky glow is of particular irritation to astronomers because it reduces contrast in the night sky to the extent where it's almost completely impossible to see anything but the brightest stars. Since the early 1980s, a global dark sky movement has emerged, with concerned people campaigning to reduce the amount of light pollution. This is the Bortle Dark Sky Scale, originally published in Sky and Telescope magazine. It is sometimes used by groups like the U.S. National Park Service to quantify sky glow and general sky clarity. This 9-class scale rates the darkness of the night sky and the visibility of its phenomena, such as the Gegenschein and the zodiacal light. Both are easily masked by sky glow. This list provides a detailed description of each level on the scale, with Class 1 being the best. Inspection of the area surrounding Madrid reveals that the effects of light pollution caused by a single large conglomeration can be felt up to 62 miles away from the center. Global effects of light pollution are also made obvious. The entire area, consisting of southern England, Netherlands, Belgium, West Germany, and northern France, have a sky brightness of at least 2 to 4 times above normal. The only places in continental Europe where the sky can attain its natural darkness is in northern Scandinavia and in islands far from the continent. In North America, the situation is comparable. From East Coast to West Coast, Texas up to the Canadian border, there is very significant global light pollution. Lighting is responsible for 1/4 of all electricity consumption worldwide. In 2007, Terna, the company responsible for managing electricity flow in Italy, reported a saving of 645.2 million kilowatts per hour in electricity consumption during the daylight savings period from April to October. It attributes this saving to the delayed need for artificial lighting during the evenings. Health effects of over-illumination may include increased amount of headaches, worker fatigue, medically defined stress, decrease in sexual function, and increase in anxiety. Like other forms of pollution, such as air, water, and noise pollution, light pollution causes damage to the environment. Sky glow is made considerably worse when clouds are present. While this has no effect on astronomical observations, which are not possible at visible wavelengths under cloud cover anyway, it is very important in the context of ecological light pollution. Since cloudy nights can be up to 10 times brighter than clear nights, any organisms that are affected by sky glow, for example zooplankton, are much more likely to have their ordinary behavior disturbed on cloudy nights. Light pollution poses a serious threat in particular to nocturnal wildlife, having negative effects on plant and animal physiology. It can confuse animal navigation, alter competitive interactions, change predator-prey relations, and cause physiological harm. The rhythm of life is orchestrated by the natural patterns of light and dark, so disruption to these patterns impacts the ecological dynamics. Studies suggest that light pollution around lakes prevents zooplankton from eating surface algae, which causes algal blooms that can kill off the lake's plants and lower water quality. Light pollution also interferes with the ability of moths and other nocturnal insects to navigate. Night-blooming flowers that depend on moths for pollination may be affected by night lighting. There is no replacement pollinator that would not be affected by artificial light. This can lead to species decline of plants that are unable to reproduce and change an area's long-term ecology. Lights on tall structures can disorient migrating birds. Estimates by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service of the number of birds killed after being attracted to tall towers range from 4 to 5 million per year. The Fatal Light Awareness Program, also known as FLAP, works with building owners in Toronto and other cities to reduce mortality of birds by turning out lights during migration periods. Sea turtle hatchlings emerging from nests are another casualty of light pollution. It is a common misconception that hatchling sea turtles are attracted to the moon. Rather, they find the ocean by moving away from the dark silhouette of dunes and their vegetation, a behavior of which artificial lights interfere. Seabirds may also be disoriented by lights as they leave their nests and fly out to sea. Amphibians and reptiles are also affected by light pollution. Introduced light sources during normally dark periods can disrupt levels of melatonin production. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates photoperiodic physiology and behavior. Some species of frogs and salamanders utilize a light-dependent compass to orient their migratory behavior to breeding sites. Introduced light can also cause developmental irregularities, such as retinal damage, reduced sperm production, and genetic mutation. While light pollution may not take precedence over other environmental concerns such as air pollution, cities have started to enact city ordinances to control its spread. Chad Moore, leader of the Night Sky program, says such actions will in turn preserve the night sky. He also believes the rise in energy costs could play an important role in decreasing light pollution. There is an economic incentive to reduce or get rid of light pollution, he says. Sometimes we need less light to see. And with that, I leave you with one of my favorite stand-up acts by Joe Rogan.
The real problem is the reality of life is way too huge for most people to grasp, including me. Like, how about space? When does that shit ever come up? You ever think about, if you enjoyed any part of this show tonight, I would just like 1 extra minute of your time. When you get out of here, and you get out in the parking lot, just look up for 1 minute. Do you ever do that? I never even pay attention to space unless I'm high. And when I'm high, it's usually like, dude, has that shit always been there? How come that never comes up? Space is the most taken for granted thing ever. You know how crazy it is, and it's above you every day, and it never comes up. If we all lived underground or indoors, there was only one place in the whole world where you could see space, you know how popular that shit would be? Everybody would travel to see space. You would just stand there and hold hands and look up and go, wow! There's no ceiling, this is fucking incredible, it's mind-blowing! But instead, it's just there every day. You're like, oh, look, the Big Dipper. See that? Oh, it's cool. People travel to see the fucking Grand Canyon. Like, dude, you gotta go to the Grand Canyon, man. Dude, it changed my life, man. I stood out there and saw that canyon. It was so immense. I just realized, well, how small my role in the universe really is. Oh, really? Wow. Hey, how about all that shit? What the fuck are you talking about? Those aren't light bulbs, motherfucker. Those are huge nuclear explosions billions of miles away. And it goes on forever.